With all very much due respect to Carla Wilson and Jim Breslin, 5 minutes, it's an eternity. 25 years ago, I was a radio copywriter. I was completing complete story arcs of 30 to 60 seconds, at the end of which you would say, you know what? A waterbed makes sense. Or you might say, you know what? Girlfriend done left me. It was a country radio station. But Tony Lama boots are just what I needed. Now, to be clear, it wasn't really a job for the simple reason that I wasn't paid. Here's what happened. When I was at Elizabethtown College, I wrote a story, and the story I had to interview somebody who was doing the job that I wanted to do someday. So I interviewed Joel. Joel was the creative director at a local radio station, and he liked how I captured some of his lines. He told me that radio is a place for cowboys who've never ridden a horse. Radio is a place for singers who've never been on stage. And Joel read what I wrote about it, and he said, what are your plans for the next couple years? And I said, I don't know, maybe 2 years from now, I could be an unpaid intern for you. And he said, well, if you'd like to not get paid to write radio commercials, we don't need to wait 2 years. He Tom Sawyered my ass and said, you can do that right now. So I started working for Joel. And truth be told, he was the best mentor I could have ever had. He was a classically trained actor. He had more than 100 voices. He could write tremendous radio commercials. He'd write amazing radio plays. In 1990, we actually produced a play called The Blue and the Gay. The Blue and the Gay was historically accurate depictions of battlefield battles, except the Southern Army was played by flamboyant gay men who complimented each other on their uniforms. Historians called the radio station praising the history. Gay people called the radio station praising the humor. And the 3 or 4 gay historians in Lancaster County, they lost their shit. Day after day, Joel taught me how to be a writer. We sat in his office, this 8-foot by 8-foot office, we were back to back with these electronic typewriters. We'd be banging out commercials, and Joel would turn and he'd look at my scripts and he'd pull them out and he'd cross out a line or two and he'd add 2 or 3 words, and just like that, a bad script became good. Now, this story has 2 bad ideas. The first is about Joel's office. You see, we often talk about the old-time offices, the Don Drapers of the world where everybody smoked, or today when nobody smokes. We never talk about the transitional period between 1988 and 1992, where we had designated smoking periods, smoking offices. Now, Joel was a chain smoker, so Joel says, you know what? This is the smoking area for the radio station. So day after day, Joel and I would sit in his 8-foot by 8-foot office, typing at radio commercials as the smoke piled up. And every smoker from the radio station came over and cut their butts. And one of them was Ann. And Ann was a fiery saleswoman. And she would come in and she would suck her butts. And she'd look at us because we were the worst thing in the world. We were overhead. And I was worse because I was unpaid overhead. And Ann would smush out her cigarette and leave. Now, it might not surprise you, but a man as talented and creative as Joel, a man who was a chain smoker, well, he had other addictions as well. And you see, early on, I had said to Joel with this job, I said, well, do I get a title for my job since I don't get paid? He says, yes, you shall be Marcus Grimkus, Emperor of E-Town College, or Grimkus for short. So as I started to get to know Joel a little bit better and I understand some of the problems Joel had, Joel would come up to me throughout the day. He could see that I was writing these commercials. He always kept his cigarettes in his breast pocket, and he'd go, Grimkus, out of cigarettes, back in an hour. And then he'd come back 2 to 6 hours later, eyes rimmed red, reeking of pot. Well, on one of those such days when Joel was on sabbatical, Ann comes into the office. And Ann looks at me and she goes, where is Joel? And I was too young to know how to lie, so I said, Joel who? She said, where is Joel? Catherman is here. Now I knew Catherman, Martz & Gailey was a large law firm, and Ann was trying to close them. And I knew that Joel was supposed to write a demo commercial to impress them. But I had no idea where Joel was, and I had no idea where the commercial was. Ann goes, Catherman's in the conference room, bring the commercial now. I go through that smoke-covered office. I go to every commercial tape there. I'm going through all the cassettes. I can't find anything. So then the second bad idea happened. I thought, well, maybe the guy who I work for who might have a drug problem has the cassette in his desk. So I go to Joel's desk, and I open it up, and I'm going through old cassette tapes, and there's loose tape here, and there's loose tape there, and I'm looking through old copies of The Blue and the Gay, and finally I see it. There's a cassette tape, and it says Catherman. I run down to the conference room. I slide in on my conference high tops and my homie don't play that t-shirt. This lawyer in a three-piece suit looks at me like he's never seen anyone like me. It's a three-piece suit. I'm amazed at how gorgeous it looks and how expensive it looks. And he sits down, and Ann goes, play the cassette. Now, you probably don't remember some of the best commercials in your life. I don't remember many of mine, but I remember this one, and I haven't repeated it till now. Are you thinking of being sued? Would you like to sue somebody? Maybe you would just like to screw a boy named Sue. Well, then you need to call Catherman Martzin-Gailey. Catherman Martzin-Gailey, certified blood-sucking lawyers at the bar. Shit, these guys are at the bar all day long, drinking down the distilled tears of everyone they've screwed, sued, or otherwise bitten clean through the course of the day. I'm telling you, if you want a healthy dose of revenge, you need to walk, crawl, or bleed your way on over to Catherman Martzin-Gailey. Catherman Martzin-Gailey, somebody's gonna pay. Ann is looking at me, lasers. She wants to fire me from the best job I ever had that I don't even get paid to do. And I look at the lawyer, because I can't look at Ann. The lawyer goes, play it again. 10 minutes later, Catherman Martzin-Gailey was the biggest new client we ever had. And I went back to that smoke shack of an office and got out a piece of paper, because I had more stories to tell. Thank you.